Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
The unfinished obelisk in Egypt. That was by far the largest obelisk that they had ever created, okay? More than double the size of the biggest one.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Easter Island, the largest moai ever that was being created, like 2 to 3 times bigger than any of the moai that are there, was being taken out of the host rock, just like in Egypt. Meanwhile, you go across the world to China. You go to a place called Yangshan Quarry in China, and they were in the middle of taking out the largest blocks in human history. Some of them weighed well over 1,000 tons. Meanwhile, you add one more, Baalbek, Lebanon, and the quarries there, they were taking out the largest that they'd ever done, and they never made it out of the quarry. What you have in common with all of these locations from everywhere around the world is that the civilization was in the midst of creating the largest that they had ever created of these structures, which means that they're at the height of their civilization because they were taking on the biggest projects they'd ever done globally. Everyone was. And then all of a sudden the work stopped out of nowhere and they just vanished. That tells us a few things. It tells us, one, they probably were caught off guard somewhat, or they wouldn't be taking on massive projects right before they're about to be destroyed. And two, the scope of these events must have been so severe that most of them must have perished.
How could they have stood up stones that big? There's no way you're doing it with ropes.
Yeah, bro, they weren't slaves.
There had to have been a more advanced civilization that got wiped out.
What would happen if all the humans on Earth disappeared tomorrow? After around a week, all the domesticated pets would pass away from starvation. Within the first month, all the lights on Earth would turn off, leaving the remaining animals with a beautiful view of the stars. After just 1 month, all nuclear power plants would have experienced a meltdown due to overheating. After around 50 years, nature will have reclaimed most of the cities. After 50,000 years, large plastic goods will finally start breaking down completely. After 100,000 years, all the satellites will have burnt up in the atmosphere. 2 million years later, and the oceans will have finally recovered from human-induced climate change. After 5 million years, the pyramids will have completely eroded. And finally, our radio signals will continue traveling throughout the galaxy forever. Long after we're gone, they might be the only remaining trace of our humanity anywhere in the universe.
That had to have already happened. If they were cutting those giant stones, they had to have a plan for standing them up.
Yeah, bro, and for moving them.
This is one of several of statues of this size at Karnak. What's cool about this is that it's a straight arm. So a lot of those statues, like the one at the Ramesseum, they're seated, so they always have their elbows bent at their knees. Mm-hmm. This thing was standing. So it was a standing statue, 1,000 tons, made from composite quartzite, which is in a lot of ways more difficult to work than granite. It's a stone carver's nightmare. It's like you can see the chunks of flint in the stone, but they somehow worked that surface just with no problem going over flint, which is 7.5 on the Mohs scale. And what's impressive about this, they put this together for 1 year and then they took it apart and I got told that it was because people were freaking out about how big this must have been. It gives a sense of scale, but you can still see the thumb there today, so it's turned on its side. Now, the trick with this statue is where that stone came from. So they had to take the block for that thing, I'd say 1,500 tons easy. They had to bring that upriver 600 miles or something, 500 miles.
Wow. They say they put it together with ramps, but imagine how big a ramp would have to be and how far it would have to go to put the head in place. It's crazy.
Come on, bro. They ain't got a clue who built them.
Seen these? These are star holes from Poland. Why are they weird? Because they twist on the way in. This would be hard in wood, but these are in granite. And they're ancient. Now try searching this. Google's AI will beat you to the punch and say this is not evidence for advanced technology. That is dumb. Star holes are older than the Egyptians. The Egyptians used a blade that thick to cut granite. The mainstream explanation that nobody believes anymore is copper tubes and sand. As an engineer, that's a shit idea. But we have this guy now. This is an ancient core of a tube drill. A drill leaves a spiral mark as it drills into the rock. That took 4 days, by the way. That method does not. The speed at which the ancient Egyptian drill went into the rock was faster than this drill right here. Just sit with that one for a second. Then some Russian dudes tried to prove that you could make hieroglyphs with flint and a hammer. Did a pretty good job. That took them 4 hours. Here's something to consider. This obelisk sits outside of Luxor Temple. It sits on top of a red quartzite base. See how deep those are? Red quartzite is harder than granite. We carved both those with a rock. I'm not kidding, that's the story. Back to Poland. The reason why I brought Egypt up is because in World War II, they discovered these passage mounds in Poland. After excavating them, they discovered that they have megalithic foundations.
The whole world was working with massive stones. We're going to find more with LiDAR scans.
They just found a shitload of Nazca lines using drones and AI, bro.
Remember those mysterious Nazca glyphs you always saw in Ancient Aliens? Well, we've just discovered hundreds more of these things thanks to drones and AI, and in case you're unfamiliar, these are massive man-made paths, carvings in the desert in South America that were made by natives there hundreds or thousands of years ago. These things are hundreds or thousands of yards across, and they typically show shapes of animals or other mythological figures. Well, we've discovered a lot more of them thanks to artificial intelligence and drones. Apparently a lot more really complex ones too, which we're going to get to in this article. I don't know how they knew. I was going to say that's a giraffe, given that it's South America. That's probably going to be more likely a llama. But these lines have been the subject of a variety of conspiracy theories on ancient aliens and places like that. And the truth is, we really don't know why people made these. They're just massive. You can only see them from the sky. I guess to ancient people, perhaps only a god could see them. So we don't really understand that. And now, using drones and AI, a team led by archaeologist and anthropologist Masato Saki of Yamagata University in Japan has discovered a jaw-dropping 303 more of these things in just 6 months, nearly doubling the current known number. A lot of them are human or humanoid, and they're definitely sort of primitive art, and the scale is probably struggling, because again, the people that made these couldn't see them. They're just walking on the ground here.
We think they walk the lines as part of a worshipping ritual.
Bro, they found out Epstein's temple was for worshipping Moloch.
Why is not a single person talking about the fact that on Epstein Island there is a temple used to worship Moloch? Out of all the demons in existence, this is the most disgusting one by a landslide. More people need to be aware of this because this is what's really happening behind closed doors, not some Ryan Garcia publicity stunt crap. This is what's actually happening. Moloch is the demon that specializes in child and this is what these elites are all worshipping. They've been flying out to this island, getting together with their parties, going inside of this temple and performing rituals involved in what I just explained. By the way guys, this is the exact same thing that's being worshipped during the red heifer rituals. Moloch is the demon of the cow or bull. That's the image it represents. And I want you guys to really understand this. People in Israel have been worshipping Moloch forever. It's talked about even in Leviticus 18:21. Let me clarify. It has been happening so long that it is even mentioned in the Bible, and the Bible tells us not to sacrifice or give children to Moloch. This is how common it is and how long it's been happening. The whole Epstein files, Epstein list thing, it will always come back to this, and you guys can maybe not believe me now, but you are my witness on this. Once the rest of these files come out, it is all going to relate back to that temple and worship for Moloch.
That's fucked up, bro.
If it sounds far-fetched, go watch our episode on Bohemian Grove.
So over 20,000 emails related to the Epstein case have been made public, and there are a few in there that are making their rounds. Note that these are not the full official files that everyone's been asking about and waiting on. Those are still nowhere to be found. But out of all of these emails, this is the one that everyone's been talking about. It's an email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark, and this is how it goes. So we have Mark writing to Jeffrey asking, how are you doing? A while back you mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now? Jeffrey hits him back with, all good, Bannon with me, referring to Steve Bannon, a former White House advisor who served in the first few months of President Trump's first administration. And here's the one. Mark then replies with, ask him, referring to Bannon, if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. What? Bubba is a common nickname given to Bill Clinton, and he's even referred to as Bubba Clinton in a few of these emails. And Jeffrey responds with, "And I thought I had Thesaurus," which I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's basically a Yiddish term for problems. Yiddish being a Judeo-German language. Mark hits him back with, "You and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard." I don't even want to try to explain that. But now everyone's asking, does Putin really have photos of Trump doing that? Mark Epstein, who's still alive, actually surprisingly responded to these claims, saying the message was being misread, that they were simply part of a humorous private exchange between two brothers and were never meant for public release or to be interpreted as serious remarks. Adding, for the avoidance of doubt, the reference to Bubba in this correspondence is not in any way a reference to former President Bill Clinton. And then Mark's spokesperson said that Bubba is a private individual who is not a public figure. So there is a Bubba?
Mate, what the fuck is going on in the world?
Bro, Bubba was a horse.
So Ghislaine Maxwell's got a horse named Bubba, which means there's only two outcomes here. One, he a horse. Two, Ghislaine Maxwell named a horse after Bill Clinton because he's hung like a horse. And then, which means it's massive, and this is a lose-lose situation, Donald.
Come on, Ted. I don't think that actually happened.
He both of them at the same time, bro. That's why he dances like that.
This is just the weirdest news ever, but do you guys remember the portrait of Bill Clinton that Jeffrey Epstein had in his Manhattan townhouse? That was seized by law enforcement, who said that it was just hanging there as soon as you walked in a room to the right. And then we have Bill's oddly mischievous reply to him getting asked about any connection to Epstein. Oh, the evidence is clear, huh? If that face doesn't say, "You got me," I don't know what does. And everyone's just trying to connect the dots and make a whole thing out of this, which is just insane, but is also probably taking away from the severity of the other emails that were leaked. But then the White House official account starts posting stuff like this for apparent damage control just a few days after the emails got released, which honestly makes it look even more sus, and I don't know if this is like a giant publicity stunt for them, but that's what they did. And this is also a real photo taken in June 2000 at Trump Tower in New York of Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. There have been a lot of AI edits of this, but the original photo is real. At the end of the day, maybe these emails really were just a joke, who knows? Referring to only this exchange in particular, specifically that message. There are some very disturbing emails in this leak of 20,000 that are definitely not a joke and should be taken very seriously. And maybe this whole Bubba thing is just a distraction from what's really hidden in those emails.
They've had plenty of time to clean up those files. Anything they release now is just going to be a distraction.
It's gonna get a lot worse, bro.
There's a reason this article came out the same day as the new Epstein emails. They're talking about very wealthy people going hunting for people. Human safaris. So those people who love to go hunting for rare animals, and that makes us sick to our stomach to see that happen. Think about it being people and extra fee for a And why was this all released on the very day that the emails were released? In my opinion, this is a precursor to what is about to come out in the Epstein files. And it's a very similar story happening. Think of Blink Twice. Elite people from the US, France, Germany, Russia. This is proof that there is too much money being circulated between small groups of people. They've got so much money, they're bored and need to find ways to entertain themselves, so they do these sorts of safaris.
I really hope that's not true.
It's true, bro. They still do it today.
This is actually insane. Italian authorities are now investigating a claim that rich foreigners paid to shoot civilians on human safaris in Europe. You see, it's a well-documented fact that during the Bosnian War, Serbian forces surrounded the town of Sarajevo and killed thousands of civilians who were trapped in that city, many of whom were killed by snipers from far away. But we're now learning, according to new shocking claims, that between the years of 92 and 96, quote, sniper tourists were allegedly paying upwards of $90,000 to join these soldiers in shooting and killing random civilians. But somehow that's not even the worst part, because apparently there was a, quote, price list, and if these gun enthusiasts wanted to pay an extra price, they were allowed to shoot Now, these claims come from an Italian investigative author, Ezio Gavazzeni, who says that he has key evidence from a former Bosnian intelligence officer as well as multiple other witnesses that will corroborate his claims. He says these sniper tourists were German, French, English, people from all Western countries. He says there was no political or religious motivation. They were just rich people who went there for fun and personal satisfaction. And this isn't just some wild conspiracy, because Italian prosecutors have now taken these claims so seriously that they've launched an official probe, and authorities are investigating several potential culprits in the country.
That's fucking horrendous.
There's gonna be more when they release the files, bro.
Breaking news, the House of Representatives just passed the legislation to release the Epstein files nearly unanimously, 427-1. The only no vote was Clay Higgins from Louisiana, so he's going to have some explaining to do. And this all comes after Trump reversed course at the last minute to endorse the vote. So what does this mean? Well, we'll have to wait and see, because A, the Senate still has to vote on it, but B, there is one word in this legislation that can make all the difference. So here it is. It says, no later than 30 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall make available in a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records, documents, and communications and investigative materials in possession of the Department of Justice, including the FBI and the United States Attorney's offices. Unclassified, which is to say there are a lot of things they could potentially put under that bucket. Now, when asked why that clause is in there, Thomas Massie responded saying, quote, you have to put that in there if you're going to get them to sign it. It's not something I would sit and say, let's put that in there. It's something that when you run the bill past other colleagues and say, can you sign this? In fact, can you get every Democrat to sign it? It's one of those things that we felt was necessary to put in there. Not only that, Trump is also asking the Department of Justice to investigate the Epstein ties to a slew of other high-profile figures, which could actually, in effect, shield a bunch of these guys from public scrutiny, because all the documents will be, quote, under investigation.
All we're ever going to get is some bullshit version of whatever files they actually want us to see.
Yeah, bro. Epstein had all of them on the payroll.
You will not believe this, but a member of Congress, Stacey Plaskett, was caught texting Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing where Epstein was feeding her information about Trump in real time. It's insane. Take a listen.
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign, or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
There are other people that we should be meeting with.
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh. You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
Yeah, we're never going to see all the files.
We'll find out who killed him, bro.
You've been told who killed Epstein?
Yeah.
Can you say?
No.
Probably best not to.
Probably best not to.
He died in a prison cell, but had he not yet been convicted?
No, it's very much the early stages. He in 2008, 2009, he served a short sentence for soliciting a This was the Palm Beach police investigation. He spent the night in prison, but he was able to go to his office during the day. It was a very, very lenient sentence, having everyone thought he'd be banged to rights and, in prison for the rest of his life. And then later, he was arrested in July 2019, and this was a federal charge. So this was the FBI investigating him because of offenses he'd committed outside Florida. So that was a state case. But he was only literally just been arrested. He hadn't had a trial. So this is why his death is surprising. He had everything to play for at that stage. And the idea of community when there was still a long way to go in the legal process just doesn't make sense to, even to the victims' lawyers. So I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think there are strong arguments to suggest that and we know all the cock-ups, the cameras that were switched off and the guards that weren't there, and the autopsy that wasn't made public, and Michael Barden's autopsy suggesting it was murder. So, there's lots and lots of evidence to support that. And maybe, the government will the story of Epstein's death will come out. I suspect all those papers have been, destroyed. The person who did it, and I know I've been told who did it, I think has been spirited away, and no one's going to find them.
We might not know who did it, but we know who ordered it.
Yeah, bro. It was Israel.
For fuck's sake, Ted. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Here's a former Israeli intelligence officer, Ari Ben Menashe, has made several striking claims about Epstein's role as intelligence asset primarily for Israel's Mossad. Here's a small little assessment that he made, his assertions. You ready? Number one, Epstein and Maxwell were part of Mossad-run operations. He told investigative journalist Zev Shalev that he was introduced to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in the mid-'80s by Robert Maxwell, a figure that had deep ties to Israeli intelligence. According to Ben, Epstein and Maxwell were already working with Israeli intelligence at the time, and that's in the mid-'80s. Then honey trap operations from Compromise Collection. He described Epstein's trafficking enterprise as deliberate honey trap operation offering sexual encounters and underage to powerful individuals as a means to gather compromising material, allegedly using to blackmail them on behalf of Mossad. And in part of Maxwell's circle and Iran-Contra connections, Ben also claimed that network included Maxwell, Daily Mirror editor Nick Davies, and himself, including that Epstein and Maxwell were integrated into continuing Mossad-linked operations stemming from Iran-Contra arms and espionage dealings.
I told you, bro. It's true.
We should do a deep dive episode on Robert Maxwell.
Trump's ballroom.
Dude, I've heard some conspiracies about this.
Yeah, and the kicker, Trump is not using taxpayer money. He has some donors.
Ooh.
You ready for these donors?
I guess.
Google, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Lockheed Martin, Palantir,
Typical.
T-Mobile.
One of these things is not like the other, yeah.
Here's where it gets weird. Now it's going to be over $300 million for this 90,000 square foot ballroom. $3,330 a square foot. Way outside the standard of what you pay per square foot for a building.
So what are they spending so much money on?
A theory is that they're building an underground database center.
Yeah, there you go.
A couple years ago, Israel built a underground data center. They paid $319 million for this.
That's got to be it.
So this ballroom is costing about the same as what this data center cost in Jerusalem.
But not nearly as big.
Well, that's just the surface.
Yeah.
Because they're just building a ballroom.
Yeah.
But what's going to be underneath?
And why are all these people interested in
And
investing in it?
They would all invest because they don't want to be excluded.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Why would they put it under the White House?
They're probably building a McDonald's under there, bro.
There is footage that has recently came out of what happened during the Malaysian flight. I'm gonna show you this video, dog.
So that's the flight.
That's the
flying.
flight. Yeah, that's the plane.
Okay.
Pay attention.
What is that thing flying around it?
There's 3 of them.
There's like this. Whoa.
Bro, keep watching.
Bro, they like. What the is that?
You see what I'm saying?
No, this is legit for real?
Yes, this is legit. Bro, Joe Rogan and them are talking about it too.
Bro.
I don't know what the heck I'm looking at.
There's like these 3. It starts off with 1.
Yeah.
And then 2 other ones come.
Bro, keep watching. It gets weirder, bro. And I'm gonna tell you some of the things people are saying.
Fuck. And they're just circulating around the airplane.
Yeah. You saw that, right?
Like a white, explosion happened or something. But it didn't look like an explosion. Like,
it was like it just said boom.
Like a blink.
Like it just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like it got sent somewhere or something. They even showed it in thermal.
Yo.
It's the same footage. It's the same footage.
Whoa.
Dog.
Bro. What the fuck is that?
You saw it disappear, right?
Yes.
Mate, that can't be real.
Trust me, bro. They created a wormhole.
I think they're autonomous balls of plasma. And if we have that technology, there's a lot of tough questions that are going to be asked. Like, where did we get this technology? How long have we been hiding this technology? What does this mean about our reality? If we can just have 3 orbs spin around a plane and then poof, it shoots through, let's say, a wormhole, because that's what I think we're looking at, and goes to a different location on Earth instantaneously.
Even if we had that kind of technology, why would they test it on a passenger plane?
They weren't testing it, bro.
This is not some crazy conspiracy. That's what Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna just said on a recent Newsmax segment, and the reason she said it might get your attention. Check this out and let's talk.
Quote, non-human life forms that could be interdimensional beings who are visiting us. Can you just explain more to people at home what that might mean?
Yeah, so that's definitely a mouthful, but that is directly based on information that we've received from witnesses, also information that we have obtained and witnessed via our investigations. There's some stuff that I can't disclose of what I have immediately seen in some of these skiffs, but what I will tell you is this is not just some crazy conspiracy theory. Obviously, there's been massive reporting, not just in the United States, but around the world. And this is something that I think everyone kind of, has always had some curiosity about. We're just simply asking the questions.
Yeah, and it feels like we're building towards some sort of disclosure.
So let's break that down a little bit on what she just confirmed. So Luna said Congress has received testimony and evidence involving non-human life forms and possibly interdimensional phenomena. We've heard that. And she emphasized that this is based on classified things that she has personally been a part of. She even added that certain things she's seen can't be discussed publicly, which are the things that really pique my interest, of course. Is this the same old political dance? Or is the tone actually shifting?
It's the same old shit, bro. It's Bluebeam.
Go watch our episode on Project Bluebeam. Let us know in the comments what subjects you want to see us do next.
A mysterious object floats on NASA's livestream once again, and then it kind of shuts itself down later on. Look at the state of this object, bruv. Right? Once again. As it's floating past this screen, you can see the stars appearing just behind it, so it's kind of moving in front of the stars. It kind of looks like what JP described above his house, which was like the Nordic ship in nature that he kind of quotes what it was he saw, which is kind of what this is, Or is it plasmoid in nature? We've had a lot of CMEs, things of that nature coming and hitting the Earth, and it's attracting a lot of strange activity, man. NASA, what's going on, bruv? Let us know. This can't keep happening.
NASA means never a straight answer, bro. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Hold up, Ted, we've got to do the giveaway.
Leave a comment for a chance to win in our next episode. Let's do this, bro.
Bang bang!
Bang bang!
Pick something from our website and we'll send it straight out.
That's TerraTedsTales.com. Shout out everyone buying the merch, bro.
Our clothing will be available again soon. We'll show you guys the new location once it's all set up.
Yeah, bro. It's gonna be crazy.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.